Our headlines for tonight: more than 60 people died and over 300,000 families were affected of Typhoon Tino.
The Department of Foreign Affairs ensures assistance to Filipino seafarers deported by the U.S. authorities.
Senator Ping Lacson confirms that a very important witness is set to face the flood control investigation in the Senate.
A bill filed by a lawmaker which seeks removal of value-added tax on electricity bills.
Russia and Ukraine trade strikes targeting several infrastructures. Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is Eurotv News Thread. The details on our broadcast. More than 60 people died and over 300,000 families were affected of Typhoon Tino as reported by National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council.
Over 50,000 municipalities from Visayas and Mindanao were placed under the state of calamities. Here's the report.
Following the onslaught of Typhoon Tino across large parts of the country, more than 318,000 families were affected, according to the latest report from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC. As of the 12 o'clock noon situational update, 52 individuals have been reported dead, though authorities say these numbers remain under validation. 10 people were injured while 13 others are still missing and under validation. A total of 318,020 families, equivalent to over 1.1 million individuals, were affected. Around 577,928 people are currently taking shelter in 4,805 evacuation centers. 111 houses have been reported damaged, 110 partially, and 10 totally destroyed. According to NDRRMC, 86 areas across Mimaropa, Region 5, Region 6, Region 7, and Caraga Region have been flooded. Due to the extent of the destruction, 53 towns and municipalities have declared a state of calamity. Meanwhile, many port operations remain suspended due to the ongoing gale warnings, though the Philippine Ports Authority continues to accommodate stranded passengers and distribute ready-to-eat food packs provided by the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD. Pag-asa reported that Typhoon Tino made 5 landfalls in various parts of the country, first in Silago, Southern Leyte at 12 o'clock a.m. on November 4, then in Borbon, Cebu at 5 o'clock a.m., followed by Sagay City, Negros Occidental, San Lorenzo, Guimaras, and finally in Iloilo City at 1:20 p.m. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
Following the onslaught of Typhoon Tino, which devastated areas in the Visayas and Mindanao, the Weather Bureau has lifted wind signal numbers 4 and 3. However, some areas remain under signal number 2. Moreover, another potential typhoon threat, which may intensify into a super typhoon, is expected to enter the country. More from this report.
As Typhoon Tino continues to move away from Philippine landmass, Pag-asa has lifted tropical wind signal number 4 and 3 across Visayas and Mindanao. However, signal numbers 2 and 1 remain raised over some parts of Luzon. In its 5 o'clock p.m. weather advisory, Pag-asa located the typhoon center 330 kilometers east-northeast of Pag-asa Island, Kalayaan, Palawan, sustaining maximum winds of 140 km per hour and gustiness of up to 170 km per hour. Only the Kalayaan group of islands remain under signal number 2, where strong winds are still expected to cause damage. Meanwhile, areas under signal number 1 include Occidental Mindoro, Lubang Islands, and the remaining parts of Palawan, including the Calamian and Cuyo Islands. Pag-asa forecasts that by 2 o'clock a.m. on November 6, Typhoon Tino will have completely exited the Philippine area of responsibility. Even before Tino's exit, Pag-asa is already monitoring a new tropical depression outside PAR. As of 11 o'clock a.m., the Weather Bureau spotted a system 1,835 km east of northeastern Mindanao. Once it enters the PAR this week, it will be named 1, the second tropical cyclone for November. The tropical system is expected to strengthen over Philippine waters and could intensify into a typhoon within the week, possibly reaching super typhoon status by the weekend. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
The Philippine government reported that 130 Filipino seafarers has been deported by the U.S. government for this year alone. Amid the deportation and cancellation of their visas, the Foreign Affairs Department assures to provide necessary assistance to the affected Filipino seamen. Here's more.
Ang higit kumulang 130 seafarers ang pinapauwi at dinideport dito sa Pilipinas nang wala pong malinaw na kaso.
A group of seafarers staged a protest at the Department of Foreign Affairs office on Wednesday. This was to voice their grievances regarding the increasing number of Filipino seafarers being deported by the United States government. This year, the U.S. has deported 130 Filipino seafarers along with cancellation of their visas without explanations.
Napakalaki po ng budget para kumuha ng abogado. Kahit isa po sa kanila, hindi nabigyan ng abogado ng DFA. Kahit isa. At kahit nandito, hindi na rin po sila kinausap para sila ay bigyan ng karapatan na mag-apila sa ngalan ng Philippine government.
Foreign Affairs Department Assistant Secretary Esidin Tago of the Office of Migration Affairs personally interacted with the Filipino seafarers who have already raised their concerns to the International Seafarers Action Center. The DFA assured that the assistance will be provided to the group of Filipino seafarers deported by the United States. The DFA said it will continue to coordinate with the Department of Migrant Workers and the Philippine Embassy in Washington to confirm the reports, and at the same time, it ensures that appropriate assistance is provided to those affected by the deportations. The Philippine Embassy has previously requested a statement from the United States authorities regarding the deportation of Filipino seafarers, but there is still no clarification regarding the deportation. This is ALVIN PELOBELLO for Eurotv News.
Senate Blue Ribbon Chair Senator Ping Lacson confirms that a very important witness is set to face flood control investigation in the Senate. Among the plans to summon former House Speaker Martin Romualdez and former Ako Bicol Party List Representative Saldico to join the probe. Here's the details.
Senate President Pro Tempore Pampilo Ping Lacson revealed that an important witness is expected to attend the next Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on the alleged flood control project anomaly. Lacson, who will resume his post as Blue Ribbon Committee Chair, said the witness testimony could be crucial in either summarizing the case or identifying additional individuals involved in the corruption scheme.
Importante kasi pwedeng ma-wrap up yung lahat ng pwedeng o kailangang malaman patungo pati sa prosecution sa conviction.
He has ordered that the witness's affidavit be finalized within the week, noting that the testimony will be backed by ledger, digital files, and other documents. However, Lacson emphasized that no names should be mentioned without sufficient evidence to support such claims.
Mga dapat ebidensya, mga dokumento, ledger, digital files, lahat ng notes. Kasi sabi ko sa kanya, kung magme-mention lang ng pangalan na walang suportang dokumento, wag na lang mag-mention kasi baka makasira lang ng tao.
The senator also disclosed plans to invite former House Speaker Martin Romualdez and former House Appropriations Chair Sal Dico to the upcoming hearing. The invitation for Romualdez will be coursed through House Speaker Boji D in observance of interparliamentary courtesy, while Co's invitation will be sent through his registered address. The exact date of the next Blue Ribbon Committee hearing is still being finalized, but Lacson hinted that the committee may soon wrap up its investigation into the ghost and substandard flood control projects. Meanwhile, Senate President Tito Soto confirmed that he will meet with Romualdez in the following days to formally extend the committee's invitation and discuss ongoing issue related to the flood control anomaly. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
A lawmaker pushes for the investigation over the alleged irregularities in the flood control projects in Davao City, revealing that 121 flood control projects amounting to more than 6 billion pesos for 2 rivers. Mia Layagin tells us more.
80 flood control contracts and projects in Davao City amounting to 4.35 billion pesos were tagged by ACT Teachers Party List Representative and House Deputy Minority Leader Antonio Tino as red flags. In a Wednesday press conference, Tino exposed alleged anomalies and irregularities uncovered by his team regarding some flood control projects along Davao and Matina rivers between 2019 to 2022. Analyzing data from the Department of Public Works and Highways and budget documents, Tino revealed that there are 121 flood control projects amounting to 6.06 billion pesos was allocated for the 2 rivers. The lawmaker noted that 79 of these contracts, amounting to 4.07 billion pesos, were alleged congressional insertions and not included in the original National Expenditure Program or NEP. The said projects were said to be implemented in the 1st Legislative District of Davao City, represented by Congressman Paulo Pulong Duterte. Tino presented data showing alleged total overlapping on contracts, with 2 in 2019 and 2020 for the similar project. He revealed alleged double fundings, with 2 contractors awarded contracts for the same project of revetment of Davao River Bridge upstream section. 9 contracts were allegedly implemented on a different location stated in the General Appropriations Act, which were shortchanged in terms of coverage. 62 contracts were not detailed and specified, while 10 projects are not even in the GAA. Tino also named contractors repeatedly appearing in the data, such as Reli Construction and Supply Incorporated, Legacy Construction Corporation, Abu Construction, St. Timothy Construction, Alpha and Omega Construction, Alfrego Builders, and Genesis 88. Some of these are owned by the Discayas, of Glenn Escandor, who donated on VP Sara Duterte's campaign, and of Senator Bongo's half-brother. The Salon is set to file a resolution to conduct a congressional investigation over the matter, saying that Filipinos deserve to know whether there is a fund misuse. As of reporting, Congressman Duterte is yet to respond with the alleged irregularities of projects under his district. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
The Malacanang Palace urges the public to celebrate holiday season simple and peace to show solidarity to the victims of typhoon and earthquake. Catherine Landicho has more.
President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has called on the public to observe a simple celebrations of the upcoming Christmas and New Year holidays. According to the President, this is solidarity with Filipinos who continue to face difficult challenges following the series of calamities that have recently struck the country, including powerful earthquakes and typhoons that affected parts of the Visayas and Mindanao. He added that keeping the celebrations modest is a way to show compassion and unity with those who were affected. At the same time, the palace reminded that all government employees to heed this call and keep their holiday activities as simple as the Christmas season and New Year approach.
Ilang araw bago magpasko, pinaaalalahanan ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. at ng Department of Budget and Management o DBM sa pangunguna ni Secretary Amenah Pangandaman ang lahat ng ahensya ng pamahalaan na gawing simple at makabuluhan ang Christmas at year-end celebrations. Bahagi ito ng pakiisa ng administrasyon ni
This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
Philippine inflation rate on October 2025 flat 1.7% since September, with house rental, electricity, and Gas and other fuel serves as the main driver. The Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA sees possible movement on holiday season. Here's my report.
The country's inflation rate remained unchanged at 1.7% in October, matching September's figure according to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA. The PSA reported that the main contributors to the October inflation rate were housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels, particularly rent, power rates, and water supply. This was followed by the restaurant and accommodation services sector and then by food and non-alcoholic beverages, driven mainly by prices of tomatoes, milk, fish, and pork. PSA National Statistician and Civil Registrar General Undersecretary Claire Denise Mapa said food inflation had already eased by 1% as early as September, all because of lower prices of rice, corn, and various meat products.
But of course, may mga challenges pa rin tayo like yung mga isda, mataas yung presyo niya pa rin, fish and other seafood.
Mapa added that based on PSA monitoring, a slight uptick in inflation could occur during the holiday season due to possible price increases in fuel and transportation, fish, meat, and vegetable affected by recent typhoons.
At of course, yung malaking contribution talaga yung flooding na nangyari in the past months, ano? So kasi nag-trigger ito nung naalala nyo nung July, di ba? Mas malaki yung areas na affected by typhoon, kaya nagkaroon tayo ng 10% nung August kaagad.
Meanwhile, Department of Economy Planning and Development Secretary Arsenio Balisacan said the steady inflation rate reflects the government's effective coordination and supply management efforts. He added that the government remains on guard against potential risks that could affect the country's supply and price stability. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
While Christmas season approaches, the Department of Agriculture is set to impose a floor price of 210 pesos per kilo of pork, protecting local hog raisers from losses. Vanessa Cleophas has more.
The Department of Agriculture or DA will impose a floor price ranging from 210 pesos per kilo for pork as the Christmas season approaches in order to protect local hog raisers from losses. This means that traders will not be allowed to buy pork at a price lower than the rate set by the Agriculture Department. The decision was made during a meeting between the DA and local hog raisers who expressed that many in the swine industry have been suffering heavy losses. This move comes despite the drop in farm gate prices to 150 to 180 pesos per kilo. Producers said that this price is only enough to recover the costs they spent on raising pigs for sale. Agriculture Secretary Francisco Tiu Laurel Jr. noted that consumers have not felt the effect of lower farm gate prices as DA personnel observed during market inspections that some vendors still sell pork belly as high as 400 pesos per kilo. The DA is now studying the possibility of increasing tariffs on imported meat to 40% from the current 25% to prevent over-importation, which leads to lower demand for local meat as consumers tend to prefer imported products. In addition, the agency is also considering reimposing the maximum suggested retail price or MSRP for pork while taking into account that earning of hog raisers and the welfare of consumers. Meanwhile, Secretary Laurel reminded the Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service or AMAS to intensify price monitoring of meat products in the market. Tiu also instructed supermarkets to properly label meat products to indicate whether they are frozen or fresh pork to prevent consumers' confusion. Vendors in public markets are likewise reminded to store meat in freezers or chillers to keep products from spoiling and to ensure food safety for buyers. This is Vanessa Cleophas for Eurotv News.
A lawmaker files bill seeking to remove the value-added tax on electricity bills, aiming to ease the burden and make lives of Filipinos easier. Mia Layagin reports.
Lower electricity cost to improve lives of Filipinos. This is the main goal of Murang Kuryente Party List Representative Attorney Arthur Yap as he filed before the Congress House Bill No. 5205 seeking the removal of value-added tax on electricity billing. Yap emphasized that aside from high electricity rates, the implemented 12% VAT on billing is an additional expense for consumers.
Pag nag-generate kami, VAT po yun. Pag nag-transmit kami, VAT po yun. Pag dinistribute ng Meralco, may VAT po yun. Hindi po kaya ba pwede, Mr. President, diba? Ipalift na natin yan. Congress po, magsama-sama po tayo. Because of course, Congress will be needed to amend the law. And so, I'm sure the President naman will support if the majority of Congress will, ang sinasabi ko sa mga kasama ko, sa mga colleagues ko, supportahan na po natin yun, na kailangan, let us remove that VAT.
The lawmaker noted that if electricity bills are exempted from VAT implementation, power costs affecting living expenses of Filipino households will also decline. Yap is aware about the concerns on the almost 300 billion pesos collection lost if the electricity VAT is removed. Despite this, he underscored that this will benefit Filipinos as this will be an automatic discount on their electricity expenses.
Ay, 300 billion against a 28 trillion GDP economy will be hit. Are you telling me, Marichu, that the 300 billion lessening of expenses, our house is on fire? Our houses, we are in trouble. And then gastos pa rin tayo ng gastos. Let us tighten the belt. If anything has shown in the last few years, we have shown an irresponsibility in how we spend our money. Why don't we tighten our belts? For 300 billion, huwag mong utangin.
If not removed, Yap suggested that subsidies in form of financial aids should be directly inserted on the consumer's billing in aim of providing assistance on their daily expenses. On the other hand, electricity provider Meralco have expressed support to the goals of VAT removal bill. Meralco Vice President and spokesman Joe Saldariaga noted that if VAT is removed, electricity costs may be lessened with as much as a peso.
We will support any initiative that will return to the voting group. Kung ano yung magiging maganda para sa mga consumers, we will fully support that. Because at the end of the day, ang mandato naman talaga is to provide service to all our customers within the Meralco franchise.
The company also assured its consumers to intensify its measures in providing quality service as power provider. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
Citing data that shows a significant drop in an academic performance resulting from classes cancellations, Education Secretary Sani Angara pushed for learning continuity during calamities, prompting DepEd and concerned agencies to plan a national protocol for uniform class suspension. Vanessa Cleophas returns.
The Department of Education or DepEd aims to strictly implement the make-up classes policy and alternative delivery modes or ADM whenever face-to-face classes are cancelled due to bad weather condition. According to DepEd, while the safety of students and teachers remains their top priority during calamities, students' learning must still be given attention even while they are at home. Based on the 2019 trends in international mathematics and science study, every day that a student misses school, it results a significant impact on their academic performance. Data shows that students lost about 12 points in mathematics and 14 points in science for each day of missed classes. Over 10 days of class suspensions are equivalent to a loss of 380 to 500 points in total. Data from EDCOM2 for school year 2023 to 2024 also showed that students lost more than 20 school days due to the class cancellations caused by typhoons. As a result, 11 million students or 40% of learners in public schools were affected, showing the growing impact of bad weather on education. Education Secretary Sani Angara emphasized that while disaster cannot be prevented, which often lead to school suspensions, there are still ways to ensure that learning continues. Meanwhile, in relation to class suspensions, the DepEd, DILG, CHED, and other concerned agencies and organizations are planning to formulate a national protocol on class suspension to ensure uniform announcement across the country. Through this, All parties will have a clearer, faster, and more organized system for announcing class suspensions. The DILG will prepare an advisory template that will serve as a standard guide for local government units and public schools whenever class suspensions are necessary. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
The Quezon City Police District or QCPD is strictly reminding all personnel to uphold discipline and professionalism on social media in line with the new PNP circular that restricts the use of uniforms and facilities in personal content to prevent ethical violations that previously led to dismissals. Henry Nicolas has more.
The Quezon City Police District or QCPD calls on all its personnel to uphold discipline, professionalism, and responsibility when using social media platforms in line with the PNP Memorandum Circular number 2024-077. Under the circular, only personnel assigned to Police Community Relations or PCR offices and unit such as the Regional Community Affairs and Development Division, Regional Police Community Affairs and Development Unit, and recognized PCR branches are authorized to use PNP uniforms, equipment, and facilities in producing official vlogs related to police activities. Non-PCR personnel may still create personal content outside office hours, but must strictly comply with PNP social media policies, refraining from wearing uniforms and avoiding the use of police facilities or government-issued equipment. All personnel are reminded that online content must uphold privacy, ethics, and respect for human rights and must not offense or contain offensive languages, discrimination, or acts that could harm the reputation of the organization. Political or commercial endorsement as well as the disclosure of confidential or sensitive information are also strictly prohibited. QCPD Acting Director Colonel Silvio emphasizes that responsible social media use reflects of police officers' integrity both online and in service. Previously, several content created by the police officers went viral, leading to their dismissal from service. The most recent was a police officer in Talisay City, Cebu, after conducting an online Bring Me challenge with a prize. The police officer offered 2,000 pesos to anyone who could bring him a drug user and 5,000 pesos for a drug pusher.
Ka og easy money for 2,000 pesos. Bring me 2,000 ha, drug user, and for 5,000 pesos dali ko ninyo og street level drug pusher.
According to the PNP, this is a clear violation of their police operational procedure and they have already asked the said police officer to explain. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
Following widespread flooding caused by Typhoon Tino, Cebu Governor Pam Baricuatro urged the Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary or DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon to investigate the effectiveness and integrity of the province's billion flood control projects that reportedly failed to prevent the disaster. Catherine Landicho has more.
Following the widespread flooding in the province of Cebu brought about by Typhoon Tino, it appears that one possible cause of the disaster may be the ongoing flood control projects in the area. According to Cebu Governor Pam Baricuatro, despite the numerous flood control projects implemented across Cebu, these have still failed to prevent severe flooding and flash floods. Because of this, Governor Baricuatro urged Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon to thoroughly investigate the said projects. In a Facebook post, that governor also revealed that the total cost of flood control projects in the province has reached 26 billion pesos. Governor Baricuatro emphasized that need to ensure the effectiveness and integrity of these projects to prevent further flooding incidents and to make sure that the public funds are properly utilized. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
In the continuing war between Russia and Ukraine, the two countries exchanged strikes, damaging several infrastructure. More from Son Santiago.
Russia and Ukraine traded fresh attacks over this week, targeting each other's infrastructure as the war between the two countries continue. In southern Ukraine, 2 people were killed and 3 others were injured over the weekend after a Russian drone struck a parking area overnight, according to the State Emergency System of Ukraine. Meanwhile, in the southeastern part of the country, around 60,000 residents lost power after a wave of missile and drone attacks damaged parts of the power grid. Kyiv said blackouts were experienced in 4 areas because of the impact. According to international reports, these strikes are part of Moscow's broader effort to cripple Kyiv's power system ahead of the winter season. It is a tactic Moscow has used repeatedly to weaken public morale and pressure Kyiv's government. On the other hand, Moscow reported that Kyiv drones wiped a key oil refinery in southern Russia yesterday at midnight. According to the Associated Press, Ukraine has targeted key sites in Russia to weaken Moscow's war campaign and economy, nearly 4 years since the invasion began. Meanwhile, there were no reported casualties. This is Son Santiago for Eurotv News.
State lawmaker Zoran Mamdani was declared the winner of the New York City mayoral race, defeating former Governor Andrew Cuomo and becoming the city's first Muslim mayor following the highest voter turnout since 1969. Graciela Corazon reports.
After recording more than 2 million voters turnout in the New York City mayoral race, state lawmakers and Democrat Zoran Mamdani has been declared the winner as the mayor of the New York City and defeating former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Zoran will formally take office on January 1, 2026, becoming the first Muslim to serve as the mayor of the New York City. Zoran defeated Andrew Cuomo, who attempted to return to politics after controversial issues led to his ousting in 2021. It is worth noting that this is the highest voters turnout in the New York City since the 1969 elections. Mamdani is an Indian-American state assemblyman born in Uganda, had previously lost the Democratic nomination for mayor to Cuomo. It was considered the clear front-runner by almost every pollster throughout the primary race. Even before the election, Mamdani has already proven his mettle when he defeated Cuomo in the Democratic primary in June, despite a huge gap in previous surveys. Meanwhile, New York is one of the 2 U.S. states without a sore loser law, a pretext that allowed Cuomo to stay in the primary and run again in an independent candidate under the Fight and Deliver party. Despite the reluctance of some Democratic nominees, Mamdani still prevailed in the election, defeating Cuomo and Curtis Liwa, who has also the Republican nominee. This is Graciela Corazon for Eurotv News.
In sports, the Chicago Bulls upset the 76ers in their game for a 24-point comeback win. All that and more from Kyle Basa.
After recording more than 2 million voters turnout in the New York City mayoral race,
the top 2 Eastern Conference teams collided as they were battling for the number 1 spot today, November 5, the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers. They are both considered young teams by how their youth and rising star players are carrying the franchises on their back. The 76ers managed to get the game in their favor with their offense and had the biggest lead of the game with 24 points. But the Bulls tended to trim and even take the lead with few seconds remaining in the final quarter with Nikola Vucevic's nail-biting game winner 3. The final score of the game is 113 Bulls, 111 76ers. Josh Giddey is the best player of the game with his triple-double stat line. He had 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. Nikola Vucevic also had 19 points. Isaac Okoro with 16 points. Jalen Smith with 14 points. Kevin Huerter with 12 points. And Matas Buselis with 10 points. The Chicago Bulls is now at the top seed of the Eastern Conference with a record of 6 wins and 1 loss, while the Philadelphia 76ers is now at the second with a 5 wins and 2 loss record. Rising Filipina tennis star Alex Ayala ends her 2025 tennis journey. In this year's statistics, the 20-year-old prodigy has a record in the World Tennis Association of 40 wins and 26 losses. At the start of the year, she was only ranked 130th in the league, but she rose and impressed the whole world with her talents, with now as the world ranked number 50. In her Instagram post, she expressed her deepest gratitude for her family, friends, team, and fans on how they supported her when she was competing. She claimed her first WTA title in Guadalajara Open 125 this previous September, making her the first ever Filipina tennis player to ever win in a WTA singles title. The future is bright for the 20-year-old Filipina prodigy, and we will witness her again next year. This is Kyle Basa reporting for Eurotv News.
Miss Universe President Raul Rocha has expressed disappointment toward Miss Grand International President Nawat over his behavior during the candidates' sashing ceremony, where some women walked out of the hall. Sam Martos tells us more.
Extra na lang tayo.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit Eurotvphilippines.com for more news and information. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez.
You can also catch our live broadcast through our social media accounts and via an Extreme channel. I am ALVIN PELOBELLO. Thanks for joining us. This is Eurotv News Thread. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone.